It's Memorial Day. It's time to get out of town and get on the water. This summer, gear up for the fish, the food, and the family. Cabela's Memorial Day sale. Family events, amazing deals. Your one stop before the campfire. Save $200 on Champion Patriot generators, $100 on select kayaks, and get Cabela's Adult and Youth Deluxe Flotation Vests for just $9.99. Plus, come in and celebrate our Hometown Heroes event. See store for details. Shop in-store and online at Cabela's.com.
Are you weighed down by the burdens of life? Do you find yourself encouraged by the Word of God on Sunday, but lose momentum shortly thereafter? Well, welcome to Sunday Soul Service, an hour designed to strengthen, encourage, and motivate you to keep pushing along the journey we call life. This is Dr. Renee Sunday, the platform builder, encouraging you to believe, trust, and walk it out.
Welcome to the Sunday Soul Service. I'm Letitia Bates, life coach and founder of At the Wheel Coaching, driving your life to higher ground. Are you trying to get to the next level in your life? Maybe you're trying to move forward with your new business idea. Perhaps you're resistant to getting into a new relationship. The thought of these things are probably activating fear. Any problem you're having with fear is based on the past. How do we know? The future hasn't happened yet. So here's the real question. Is your past at the wheel of your life? If the pain of your past has been keeping you down, start driving your life to higher ground. Fear can be paralyzing or exhausting when you don't understand its purpose. Imagine you're crossing the street and you notice a car coming that doesn't seem to be stopping. Your body kicks into high gear, and like an Olympian runner, you dash across the street to safety. What caused you to run so fast? Your fear. So what is it that your fear was trying to do? Protect you. Now imagine you're preparing for that job interview. You feel certain that you can do the job, but in the past you have not performed well on interviews. Just thinking about it fills you with fear. So what is the fear trying to do? The same thing. Protect you from hurt, from embarrassment, from failure. The same stress response that was activated to get you across the street with Olympian speed to protect you from that car is now trying to protect you from bad feelings based on your past. But the purpose of the fear is the same, to protect you. So what do you do with the fear? I say, grab it. That's greet it, read it, address it, and bless it. Now, we've just discussed that fear is trying to protect you. When you greet your fear, acknowledge that it is there for the purpose of helping you. Then read it. There is valuable information that can shed light on what you need to heal. You can ask, what are you trying to protect me from? By listening, you'll have the opportunity to address it. And once you've released the pain of that past, you can give thanks for the lesson and bless it. To help us dig a little deeper, the incredible Dr. Renee Sunday and the joy guru Alicia Brown are here. Let's start with Dr. Sunday. Hello, Dr. Sunday. Please share your thoughts.
Well, thank you so much, Life Coach Letitia Bates. This is an amazing topic that we all actually need to address at some point in our life. Sometimes we allow fear, and I know some arenas, more spiritual based, people say false evidence appearing real. Now, I've heard some people actually say that means you need to get it all together and move forward. I've heard that. But the thing is, we have to always remember, number one, that we all have things we're dealing with. I notice people love to say we all have issues. We all have things we're dealing with. Yes, that is true. So we should do it just like you said. We need to, the thing is we don't acknowledge it. Or people go way to the left and they may fake it And that's just, we used to say that in church all the time. I'm just being real, fake it till you make it. But that's not working, as we know, and we've done it so many times in our life, because some people can accomplish great things in one part of their life. They may be very successful in school, but then they have trouble with, and I'm going to say it, staying away from the table. They eat the wrong thing, know we need to exercise, and still won't do it. And so the thing is, we can have one thing accomplished in one area, but then we allow fear or the word, faking it till we make it, or something is blocking us to realize, just like you said, grab it. We need to grab it and recognize what it is, and we need to take care of it. But that's one thing I really wanted to point out, Alicia, is everybody need to realize that we all have experienced it. And the thing about it is, I'm so glad with your expertise, you're going to show us how that we can actually grab it and we can take care of it and we can move forward in our purpose.
Well, that is definitely what we want to talk about tonight. Miss Alicia Brown, please weigh in and share your thoughts.
Look, everything sounds good so far, but what I want to know, you said that fear tells us something. Now, I want to know what that childhood fear of going by the graveyard and being scared to do that, what was that trying to tell me?
Okay.
I'm just keeping it real, as they say.
Okay, so let's just keep it real. That could be telling you several things. You can actually ask the fear what it's trying to tell you. Anything could have happened. You could have had a bad experience in a graveyard. You could have gone to a funeral and people were tremendously sad, and that's how that memory got stored in your mind, that was a place of fear. There could be a myriad of things. But what tends to happen is when that energy rises in us, we either get paralyzed by it, right, so we don't do anything, or we just want to run from it. We just don't want to deal with it. So what I'm suggesting is, by greeting the fear, like Dr. Sunday was saying, is acknowledge that you're fearful. Just actually acknowledging, I feel fear about this. But then if you're going to go to the next level, which is to read it, that is actually having an exchange with the fear about what it is trying to offer you. Because fear at its core is trying to protect you from something. And that's why I use the analogy of, you see a car coming and you're trying to run across the street. It's hormones that are activated in your body from the fear of dying that's putting you in high gear to get across the street. That's not something that's trying to hold you down. That's trying to keep you alive. So when fear is coming up, it's coming up for a reason.
Oh. Okay, I like it. I still don't know what the reason was, but I will say this. I believe in facing wherever your fears are head on. And I don't mean just, your regular fear here or that, but I believe that something is a reoccurring thing. You just really need to bite the bullet and face it so that it doesn't keep you in prison. So I had some experiences where I made myself slowly drive through a graveyard because I got tired of year after year driving by one and just being creeped out. And now I don't really care. But, yeah, I don't know what it was for and what it meant.
So what you did in that experience is you desensitized yourself to it, right? Yeah. So that's one approach, which is fear is there, you recognize the fear, you either keep practicing something that you fear like you did where you're driving through, or you overexpose yourself to it in order to desensitize you. That is certainly an approach that can be helpful. Uh-huh. What I'm suggesting is a little bit deeper.
Uh-oh.
And the reason that it's important is because people tend to have fears around certain things. Like you can get bitten by one dog and fear all dogs for the rest of your life. Every dog that comes in your way is not going to bite you. But if you deal with the stress response that got activated in the dog bite, that can help collapse that around that. And then that fear, if it doesn't get dealt with, can be then generalized. And now you're afraid of animals, period. That's what happens when it doesn't get addressed. It moves from this specific event that occurred, and then it gets generalized up to everything. It happens in relationships. You're in a bad relationship, you get hurt in the relationship, and then all of a sudden, all men are dogs. And that's not true. You've not even dated all men. But you take your specific, unaddressed issue and generalize it across all relationships or all male relationships. That's what happens when you don't try and figure out what's going on with the fear.
Well, I have a question, Letitia, because I think I love what you're saying, but I'm getting back to what Alicia brought out so wonderfully, the Joy Guru. The problem is a lot of us we can't even get to step one. We just know my palms are sweating. I'm about to pass out.
Yeah.
I just don't like that man that's tall, bald head, because what they did before, those kind of things. And help us with that, because I think that's where a lot of us have had, just like the old mothers in the church used to say, a stronghold that we can't even get to step one because we don't even recognize what's really going on at that particular time. We just know we feel bad and we feel weird.
Right. And so what I'm suggesting is that bad feeling or that weird feeling is there to try and protect you from something. That is the reason that the stress response was designed. It was literally designed to help us run from bears, to help us run across the street when the car was coming. When the brain perceives a threat, then those stress chemicals are dumped into your body for the purpose of protecting you. So you see the bald-headed man that reminds you of a person that hurt you. What is happening in that fear experience is the fear is doing the same thing. It's trying to protect you. What I'm saying is, what would happen if you go into the fear and challenge it and ask what it is there to do? What is it trying to protect you from?
Now, Letitia, how do you know you're not being paranoid?
You don't know until you ask. So what will happen is if you don't ask, you will just avoid. Maybe you never get into a relationship again. Maybe you never have an animal. You can't even have a pet because a dog bit you when you were 3. This is what happens when it goes unchallenged. When you don't go into it, when you're not trying to understand what is really happening inside of you, and then it starts generalizing up, there are big pockets of your life that are blocked out. Same thing happening in a job situation. You could be in a job situation and have a horrible experience and feel like you're less than, and then end up staying in that same job forever because you don't believe you can get out of it, because you're afraid to move forward based on what happened in the past. That's the value of the examination. And like Dr. Sunday was saying, I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Well, Dr. Sunday was saying you can do fantastic academically, but then you can have a horrible experience in some other area of your life, the area that you fear. Right. So academically, you don't have the issues. You get A's, you get B's, you're cool with that. Maybe you get C's and you don't care because you just want to pass the class. It doesn't matter. You don't have a fear in that area, so nothing's stopping you. You're moving along. But over here, it's a problem because you are afraid of something and you don't want to tap into the fear. And what I'm saying is if you start to think of fear as this is here to protect me, it's not trying to hold me back, it's not trying to keep me down, it's here for the purpose of protecting me. Let me take a moment and go into this and find out what it's trying to tell me.
So how do we do that? How would you're admitting that you're fearful of something. You're tired of being fearful of something. How do we face it, as you're saying? How do we make that honest assessment and start our work?
Okay, so there are a couple of ways that you can do this, but here's what you want to be conscious of. Every single solitary thing that has ever happened in your entire life experience is held in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind has the answer to everything that ails you. It knows why it's holding it and storing it in a certain way. It knows where it got set up. It knows everything. So when you are feeling that fear, it's usually manifesting in a couple of ways because we have a sensorium, right? So the way that we experience life is through our sensorium, meaning our visual, what we see. We might see an image in our mind, right? And then the next is auditory. We might hear a voice. You might hear you still hear your mother saying, "Get up," it's 5 o'clock or whatever. So that's the auditory part of your sensorium. And then there's the kinesthetic part of your sensorium, where you're actually feeling a physical response in your body. And that's the butterflies in the stomach, the tightening in the chest. You feel a physical response to it. And the next is that olfactory sense, where you have a smell. So your body has this sensorium that it is using to experience life. So when an event happens that activates your body's stress response, whether you remember it in detail or not, it is held in your subconscious in one of or more of those ways in your sensorium. But it's connected to that feeling. So if you were to go into the feeling in your stomach and say, all right, I feel these butterflies in my stomach because I'm about to go on this job interview. What is this feeling in my stomach trying to tell me? Or where have I felt this feeling before? And it may not be related to a job interview. It could have been a time you may get sweaty palms every time you go on a job interview because you have a fear of public speaking. You really don't know necessarily where it originated. Sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. But by tracing the feeling, your mind will show you or sound out for you or through smell give you the images back through your sensorium based on how it got set up. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Hey, that goes back to the old saying that our mom used to say, "You too smart for your pants," and we just don't. One, we don't understand what really is going on in our subconscious. But I'm so glad you're here to enlighten us in that, because we're going to take care of this. If something's going on that we still may have fragments or still have a lot of fear, I'm so glad, Letitia Bates, you're going to take care of that for us.
Amen.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what excites me about working with my clients. I know something that they haven't figured out yet. All the answers are inside of them.
True.
I can't tell you where your fear started, but your subconscious mind knows. So what I do with my clients is I partner with what they have. They don't know where it started, but they know about that feeling in their stomach. They don't know where that headache started. They don't know why they have a fear of driving through the graveyard.
Amen.
But if they go into that But if they go into that feeling, they go into that memory, and they can literally ask themselves, where was the first time I felt this? Or what was the worst time I felt this? Your body is going to respond through your representational system, through your vision, through the auditory, through the kinesthetic, or through the smell. It's going to happen because that is how your mind stores information. You know how we say a picture is worth 1,000 words?
Yes.
It's because when you hold that image, the image has words in it. So you see, like a symbol. Like you can just see the McDonald's arches. What do you know when you see McDonald's arches? You know it's fast food. You know you can get some French fries. You know you can get some hamburgers. You know you can get some tea. You know you can get a milkshake. You know all of that just because you saw the golden arches. Because that image is holding information. Do you understand what I'm saying? So these feelings and sensations in our body is holding information. It knows all the details. Just like your brain associates all the details of the McDonald's menu just by seeing the golden arches.
Wow. Well, Letitia, I have a question. Because, and we all know, have met someone that has been through so many things in their life. They domestic violence, child concerns, with, people they knew and people they didn't know. I mean, we really can name off so many kind of, things that you can't even imagine that can happen to a person. When I know, of course, we need to contact you and get your products and services and see if we'll, who's listening here live or in the archive to see if you're fit with them. But how do you? I mean, because now we've made our mind up to say, okay, we need some help because I know you said we can ask that question to ourselves, but if we ask that question, we need assistance or someone to kind of help us to pull that answer out of us and know what to do with it as we go along to better our life.
So that comes to the A, right, in my GRAB acronym. The G was greet it, the R was to read it, and the A is to address it. So you start by asking, what is this here to tell me? Where have I felt this before, first time or the worst time? And in my coaching practice, I use a tool called tapping. And what tapping does is it activates the body's relaxation response. So just like the thought, if you were to ask, for example, I feel this feeling in my stomach. Where have I felt this feeling before? The first time. Or what was the worst time? And some distressing image or feeling shows up. What you can do is you can use the tapping to activate the body's relaxation response in order to release the emotional charge around what's going on. So with tapping, you're tapping on acupressure points. Most of them are on your face. On my website at thewillcoaching.com, I do a little video where I talk about how I use tapping to help me move grief. And also right underneath that on that page is a list of the tapping points so you can see how it would work for yourself. What the video also does is it takes you through a tapping exercise so you know how it actually could work for you. So I use the tool myself, but it is the power tool that is in my bag in my coaching practice because it is so effective for processing trauma, processing stress, understanding and processing fear, or any other unprocessed or unhealed emotion. And the reality is that sometimes, what is really causing the fear may not make logical sense to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make logical sense that golden arches tell you that they're French fries. That doesn't make logical sense. But it does make sense to the subconscious mind.
Wow.
The subconscious mind has all of the information. Every single thing that has ever occurred in your existence is in your subconscious mind.
Letitia, can I ask a question? This may be off a little bit, but I always kind of wondered this.
Okay.
Because they even in my medical practice, we when we put people to sleep for anesthesia, they actually have done, not in the United States, I got to put that out there, that actually it's a common practice in some rituals, I'll put it that way, that when patients have surgery and procedure, they whisper things in their ear, and lo and behold, there's a high percentage of the people have woken up and don't want to smoke again. They don't want to do whatever the positive thing, if you will, that they actually have spoken in their ear, even through maybe music or just speaking it themselves. We take I guess what I'm trying to ask the question is, with our subconscious mind, I think we take it for granted, number one, but tell us a little bit more about that, because what you're saying is valuable information, but we know so little, the lay people, if you will, about really what's going on in our subconscious mind.
Yeah, so your subconscious mind, if you think about your subconscious mind, you can think about it as a series of programs, right? And not to get too technical, but for people who use a cell phone, right? There's a button on your cell phone, and it looks like a little picture of a phone. Two pictures, right? A red one and a green one. You push one button to accept the call and one button to decline the call, right? You tracking with me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those are the pictures. Those are pictures. You're just seeing a little picture, two little pictures of a phone. Accept or decline. That's all you're seeing. There's a whole program. Somebody wrote a whole program to present that button to you. So in your subconscious mind, there are programs that are driving your behavior. Everything from learning how to walk to responding to your name. If I say Alicia, you're going to respond. If I say Jane, you're not.
Right.
Because you've been programmed to respond to Alicia, because your subconscious mind has recorded and rehearsed Alicia as you.
Right.
So you're little, you're looking in the mirror, somebody's pointing in the mirror and saying to you, that's you. You're Alicia. And now you're on autopilot. Somebody says that word, you have a response to it.
Exactly.
Everything that we learn gets set up in our subconscious mind the same way. We are exposed to it, it gets reinforced, it becomes an automatic part of our behavior. That's how come you can drive home from work and not even remember making a right turn. You're on autopilot. So these are programs that get instilled, they get set up, they get rehearsed, and then we operate from them. It's our name. It's how to drive a car. It's how to use a fork. It's how to walk. It's how we repeat the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The reason that those letters were coupled with a song is to activate your auditory response. Because by making it a song, it strengthens it's using your left and your right brain to reinforce the program of what the alphabet are. This is the power of your subconscious mind. And these programs start from the moment we get here. Somebody was calling you Alicia before you cared.
That's true. But
so
then
the way I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, listening to you say that can also work in the negative.
Well, that's the thing with the subconscious mind. There's no such thing as negative. There is no negative. It just is. Alicia, Jane, Sue, Bear, it doesn't matter. Your subconscious mind does not process it that way. But what your subconscious mind does do is it looks for threats. So if something shows up that could threaten Alicia, then your subconscious mind says, okay, dump out some cortisol. Brain, give the body the cortisol so she can run from the bear. So it is definitely on guard to protect you. That's what it wants to do. But all the other stuff, the good, the bad, the negative, the positive, your subconscious mind doesn't process it that way. It's just information. So just like when we're getting ready to learn a new skill, we're getting ready to learn how to play a keyboard, we have to sit there and we have to put our fingers on the keyboard a certain way, learn the notes, and keep rehearsing it over and over and over again. That's how it works. You get a program, okay, and you keep rehearsing that program over and over and over again, you're going to operate from it. Dr. Sunday, you said something earlier about people going through a lot of different things, maybe unimaginable things. Well, if you grow up in a bad situation and that the programs that you learn in that experience don't get healed or addressed, you are bound to duplicate them, whether they're good for you or not, because this is what you come to believe that life is. So let's say, for example, you grow up in an abusive house and there's all this, screaming and hollering, and it doesn't make you feel comfortable, but it feels normal to you. You'll find yourself in a relationship with somebody who's going to do the same thing. Because your program, your rehearsal of that experience sets up a program and you operate from that program.
Right.
And so you're thinking, well, why do I keep doing this? And, oh, my God, what's wrong with me? It's just rehearsal. You're just reliving what you've rehearsed.
Have mercy. Have mercy. I hate to ask you this, but you made a comment saying that the subconscious is not negative. It just exists. So when we actually, that's why I'm so appreciative for you being in your purpose, because when we actually have sessions, ladies and gentlemen, when we have sessions, with Alicia, what a lot of times, I guess what I'm trying to get at, a lot of times we as people, let me put it this way, especially if it's something that we had in childhood and now we're adults, we have to have life coaches as yourself to have the amazing resources and tools and actually have been through it yourself and you know how it actually works from experience. You've been through going through the process of getting delivered through this amazing tool skill set you have. But this is what I want to ask you, because I think what a lot of people, and I'm just being honest, people in the world today want stuff fast, quick, in a hurry. Going back to McDonald's, if we don't get our food by that second door, that third door that opens up, another response come in. We get, angry and upset. What they doing with my food? I wonder, can you address that a little bit? Because we as a people, something happened when we were 5, for example, and now we 35 and 40, and we want to come to you, and we want to have one session with you or 2 weeks, and that's all we're going to do.
Well, so the thing about that is, it really, that game is more about how much it's been rehearsed. So let's just say, for example, somebody gets bit by a dog, last month. Dog is that experience. They've been dealing with it for a month. We work on it. We tap through that. We collapse that emotional charge around that. And then it's just processed as a memory, as something that happened, right? It's not a lobotomy. It doesn't take the past away. What it changes is how you hold and represent the past, right? So it moves it from a memory that has all of this emotional charge on it, that juice that creates the stress response that I've been talking about, and it pretty much just processes it as a normal memory. Like, I got up this morning and I put on a blouse. It happened, but there's nothing associated with it. So that's what this does. It takes the emotional charge out of what's happening. So you're no longer holding it and processing it internally in a way that disrupts you. So in that dog bite situation, we would deal with that. It was last month. We're going to collapse that. We're going to be done. But if you got bit by the dog at 5, and every time you've seen the dog since then, it might be a little bit different because you've had so much more practice rehearsing the fear. Does that make sense?
Mhm. That makes a lot of sense.
You've got more references internally reinforcing the program of being afraid of dogs. So the closer we are to the trauma, the quicker it goes. The further back the trauma has happened and the more it's been rehearsed, that's a little bit more of a process.
Oh.
So depending on what we're working with, there are different programs that I offer. There is a 1-session program. I have a 3-session program. I have a 6-session program and a 12-session program. And what we do in the programs, once you get beyond the first program, is we do what I call a piece list. And what a piece list is you listing out every memory that you can think of consciously that you want to make peace with. And it could be any memory, even if you think it's something silly. You put that all down on the piece list, and we go through that piece list, and we work through that and remove the emotional charge from the stuff on the piece list. What is the value of that? That is so your subconscious mind is not activating that stress response in relation to those memories that are still there. So feelings buried alive do not die. That's why whatever happened at 5 years old, when you're 45, if the emotional charge is still there, it's still there because it hasn't been addressed. And so even when people get through a place and they think, oh, okay, well, I'm over that now. Okay, well, maybe you're not crying and trapped in bed for 3 weeks, but somebody starts talking about it and getting into it a little too deep, you're going to shut that down. So you haven't really healed from it necessarily. You just allow other things like work and children and school or whatever to distract you from it so that it's not at the forefront of your mind. But it's still in there, active, just like you left it. And when something comes up that looks like it, you go back into the stress response. Then it starts manifesting in other ways.
Hey, you
think about what's
over here, but
think about what's happening. So seriously, when you think about some of the illnesses that we deal with, these things. So, all right, let me back up. The stress response was designed to protect you, right? It is the thing. It's what we got. We got an amazing system that is there to shoot out cortisol and all other stress hormones for the purpose of preserving our life. It helps us run from the bear. All right? So that's a good thing. But when you're dealing with something that is traumatic or painful, it doesn't even have to be something that you would call traumatic, just something painful or makes you feel bad. And that stress hormone is being released every time you think about it. Your body was not designed to process constant doses of cortisol at that level.
Right.
So since it is not processed physiologically, those chemicals now create dis-ease in the body. That is the power of your body-mind connection. The heart attack, The high blood pressure. I mean, some of this we can call diet. That's a whole nother show. we talk about the programs around food. That's a whole nother ballgame. But those stress hormones at those high levels being active in your body are actually creating and contributing to diseases. People will say, well, she was stressed out. She's got a stress headache. Well, what does that even mean? There's a correlation to I've got this stack of stuff on my desk and I have a headache. So you're making a conscious connection in that moment that the stack of files on the desk or the stack of emails are actually producing a response in your body. People can make that conscious connection. But where the conscious connection fails is when something happens earlier and we try to push that away, or we can't deal with it, we don't have the tools to deal with it, the skill to deal with, or the time to deal with it. It's still active and alive, and now all we know is we have the stress response. We don't really know its origin point anymore. So when I'm working with a client, the reason that I have them list out every single thing that they want to make peace with, I don't care how seemingly insignificant it is, it has significance to their subconscious mind. It has information. So we go through that list and we release the emotional charge around those memories or those experiences, then you don't get triggered that way. You know, you see that stack of paperwork or those emails, you don't have those same responses anymore. Because we collapse the emotional charge around that connection.
Well, I want to ask you this, Letitia. I have heard it said that as long as you continue to grow, fear will never go away. What is your opinion on that?
Fear is there to protect you. It's not something to rid yourself of. That's the whole point. It's there to give you information.
That's going to take some time.
Okay. Do you want to walk across the street and not have your stress response show up to help you get across there and get hit by the car? No.
Oh, Lord.
Do you want to be mauled by the bear? No. Do you want the guy who comes in with the gun? You're so peaceful that you have no fear that you just, no. It is there to protect you. I'm simply saying, let it have its place, but but its place is not at the will of your life. Right. That's the difference. It has a place. And if it is showing up at the will of your life, then you need to start addressing that fear. That's when you go in for the information. And to your point about growing, as we grow into new levels and we start doing things we've never done before, there's going to be fear there. But what is it based on? It's based on the past because the future hasn't happened yet.
I like that perspective. The future has not happened yet. So it's got to be based on the past.
Future hasn't happened yet. It has to be based on the past. It has to be based on the past. You're using you're in your present moment, thinking about your past, and then projecting your fear onto your future. It has nothing to do with the future. It's just your past projecting onto the future. Okay? But the reason that fear is showing up is still for the intent of protecting you. And if you are willing to partner with it, and find out what's at the base of it, then you can collapse that emotional charge around that circumstance and save your fear for the bear.
All right.
And, hey, I like that. Save it for the bear.
Save it
I
for
don't
the
want it
bear.
for the bear either. I don't need the bear either. Now you're getting back to the great stuff.
But I mean, you don't need it it's just it's out of place. It's if it's showing up too much, it's from stuff you don't need. The intent is to protect you, but it's not serving you.
Oh.
So no, fear should not be at the wheel. You should be at the wheel.
Amen.
So I can hear by the silence that you're still processing the idea that fear can be your friend.
Yes, I'm not. We are not embracing each other yet.
Okay.
We have not made it to dinner. We're not on a date. We are not friends yet. We're not warmed up to each other yet. There's a mismatch right now. I'm trying to get there, but we're not there yet.
It's okay.
It's the ugly
well,
ball.
Like I said, you start by greeting it, and then you read it, and then you address it, and then you can bless it. Because when you understand that the fear is designed to protect you, that is a blessing. The fear, the fact that we have this stress response that helps us run from bears and avoid cars and run from danger, that is a blessing.
Right.
But it has a place. So we want to make sure it's appropriately active when it should be, but not every day, all day, driving us crazy.
Right.
That's where there's a disconnect. But it is a blessing that you have been designed with something inside you that wants to protect you. That's a blessing.
That is, when you look at it that way.
And so what I'm really asking in this conversation is a shift in perspective about what fear is designed to do. Because if you understand that it is designed... No, go ahead.
No, I just want to make a point. That word you just said, changing our perspective of a thing, and that's very important. And just everything that's going on in the world. So I just wanted to put a pin there to say that we all need to do that is step back and have a different perspective of, pretty much everything that's going on in our life, because it's not what we think it is, and we finding that out tonight. Oh my! Well, what you're saying, that fear is here to protect us. We got it, Alicia. Come on, we gonna.
Okay, some of us take a little bit longer than others, so I'm trying.
It's okay.
I don't know yet.
No, but again, because you've been the whole idea is, feel the fear and do it anyway. Fight the fear and don't, it doesn't take all that.
Well, that's the good part.
Yeah,
you could something. The engineer, when you get to a point, the engineer says that if it's okay, Letitia, some of the people that's called in on the actual number would like to say something, if it's okay with you.
Absolutely.
You're live. Last number 5193.
How you doing, Dr. Sunday? How you doing, Alicia?
Hello.
Yes, is this Miss Bates?
This is Letitia. Yes.
Letitia, I'm going to tell you why I said the last name, and it has to do with that fear. But this is John Schamberger. Now, since I used to stutter, I mean, really stutter, and I used to have that fear of speaking, and and I got older, how to pronounce people's names. So I used to be afraid to talk. But as I got older, that fear started to go away. But as you were saying, it returns back because of, pronunciation that I might think that, I might get the name wrong or pronounce it wrong. So that fear factor from coming up with, I used to stutter and used to be afraid to talk and be shy, does come back into play. Another thing I just want to say, this is the first time that I've been working with Dr. Sunday for about 4 years, and Alicia, just a small period of time listening. I mean, you have them thinking. I mean, and the information you is throwing out there, I mean, it got me spellbound and saying, wow. But, for those two to be lost of words, I'm just sitting there and just saying, wow.
No, he didn't. That's the truth.
Yes, it is. I mean, because I know listen to him first, and like I said, for Dr. Sunday, about almost 4 years. And when I don't hear anything coming back, I was saying, she's throwing out some powerful information out there that got those spellbound, and it got me spellbound. But the information that you tell is very powerful, and it's true, and it's come way back from, our childhood. And because I see it within myself, even I'm close to 60 years old. And still that fear, not even, I was afraid to say your first name because I had that fear of not saying it right or getting it right.
Okay, so
that fear.
So, John, let's do this. Yes, let's do this. So, when you think that fear is trying to protect you from what?
About not saying it right. I mean,
from embarrassment.
Right, embarrassment, exactly.
Right. The fear is saying, the fear remembers when you had trouble doing it, right? Your subconscious mind remembers when you had trouble doing it. And so it's saying, in the whisper, in the fear, what it's saying is, if you say her name, you're going to embarrass yourself. And then you'll be ashamed. And then you'll be sad. Don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But that's not trying to hold you down. That is trying to protect you from embarrassment. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
And that's a completely different way to be in partnership with the fear.
Mm-hmm. And that's
so
one
now
of the ways
what you could... I'm sorry, go ahead.
One of the ways to overcome it, because fear always going to be there, no matter who you are. It's always going to be there and rise up. But as you were saying, I know once I get over that, it seems like I conquer it, once I get started and get past that, which I was afraid of being embarrassing of. And when I get past that, then it seems like I'm all right.
Okay, let me give you something bigger to contemplate.
Mm-hmm.
The fear does not have to always be there around speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can say to the fear, okay, I hear you. This is what I was talking about, was greeting that fear and acknowledging it.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that there is a part of me that does not want me to be embarrassed, that does not want me to be in shame. I appreciate that, and I honor that part of me. That's how you greet it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right? You're reading it because you're respecting the fact that it's trying to help you. The information is, if you speak, you will mispronounce words. All right, so you've greeted it, you read it, and now how do you address it? You can say, I am so grateful that I have learned how to speak.
I have learned how to speak.
How to speak. And I am so grateful that there's a part of me that wants me to never be ashamed.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Yep. Let's walk back through it. There's a part of me.
There's a part of me.
Does not want.
What was that again?
That does not want.
That does not want.
To be embarrassed.
To be embarrassed.
or ashamed.
Or ashamed.
And I am grateful.
And I am grateful.
For that part.
For that part.
I no longer.
I no longer.
Need this fear.
Need this fear.
Because I can speak.
Because I can speak.
And let it go.
Amen. Amen.
And now you've just put yourself in the knowing. There was a time when you could not speak. And fear was showing up beside you, trying to protect you from shame. It's been working overtime to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can give it an honorable discharge. Because
Amen.
you know how to speak.
Amen.
And that is when you bless it.
Amen.
Amen?
Amen. I receive it.
Thank you. And thank you for calling.
Yes, well, thank you. Amen.
You are welcome.
Yes.
All right now. All right. I like it.
So we've got to remember that the fear is trying to protect you. You got to grab it. You got to greet it. That's acknowledging it. You got to read it. That's asking for what it is trying to tell you, what it's there for. You've got to address it. You can try doing what we just did with Mr. John that called in and simply speaking to it and honoring the work that it's done for you and what it's been attempting to do and letting it know you can take it from here. If it's bigger than that, then there are tools that you can use to really deal with the emotional charge that may be still there around something much more difficult or much more challenging. And then once you've released the pain of that past, you can bless it. Why would you bless it? Because it's been there to protect you. And I know that addressing the origin of your fear can be painful. And that's what I can help you with. You can go to atthewillcoaching.com and schedule a free 15-minute consultation at atthewillcoaching.com. And I'm offering a 10% discount on all of my coaching programs for Sunday Soul Service listeners. I want to remind you to join me on the third Tuesday of every month on Sunday Soul Service. Ladies, any parting words before we leave?
I'm speaking. I have nothing to say. And that's very rare. Very rare.
Dr.
Letitia, you're fun. Well, I just cherish you. I really cherish you, and because and people know that, that we are, what we believe spiritually and what we believe in our businesses and in the things in our life. A lot of times that our mind is the thing. We got to renew our mind, and I'm so glad and grateful that you are in this era that you actually, can tell us and show us, even on a one-on-one basis, how we can actually move forward in our purpose. So my hat's off to you. As I always say, get it.
Yes.
Get it. Well,
yes.
I am so grateful to be here. I am Letitia Bates, life coach and founder of At The Will Coaching. If the pain of your past has been keeping you down, start driving your life to higher ground.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Sunday Soul Service, brought to you by me, Dr. Renee Sunday, the Platform Builder. Tune in every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for an uplifting, power-packed hour designed to help you believe, trust, and walk it out. And always remember, I love you, but God loves you best.
It's Memorial Day. It's time to get out of town and get on the water. This summer, gear up for the fish, the food, and the family. Cabela's Memorial Day sale. Family events, amazing deals. Your one stop before the campfire. Save $200 on Champion Patriot generators, $100 on select kayaks, and get Cabela's Adult and Youth Deluxe Flotation Vests for just $9.99. Plus, come in and celebrate our Hometown Heroes event. See store for details. Shop in-store and online at Cabela's.com. It's Memorial Day. It's time to get out of town and get on the water. This summer, gear up for the fish, the food, and the family. Cabela's Memorial Day sale. Family events, amazing deals. Your one stop before the campfire. Save $200 on Champion Patriot generators, $100 on select kayaks, and get Cabela's Adult and Youth Deluxe Flotation Vests for just $9.99. Plus, come in and celebrate our Hometown Heroes event. See store for details. Shop in-store and online at Cabela's.com.